Alrighty, this will probably be the last of this little series. I'm just going to show you how to oil your gun, where to oil it, where to look at, and if you have basically there's these little rags that help kind of prevent rust on them. They're something that I use pretty much every time I shoot. I wipe it down after I'm done just to prevent rust from building up. I have an extra one, so next time you are coming down to visit, or next time mom and dad go back there, try to remind me. I'll give one to them to give to you. Okay, so the places that you're going to be looking to put oil on are pretty few and far between, but they are essentially these little slide pieces right here. So on both sides, these little slide pieces. So there's those, and then you're also going to put it just on the tip of the barrel here, just on the top tip of it. And that the reason for that is when it goes through, basically it's rubbing against there. So as the slide goes back, it goes in and out. So what I usually do is I'll put a little bit of oil right on top of there, and I'll show you this in a second, and then I'll jack the gun a few times just to kind of get it spread all along the top of that barrel. So that's another place. And then the last place is literally just right on top of here, just kind of in that little crevice, and just a little bit on the top of this surface. And that's pretty much all you'll need to do with oil. Just don't do too terribly much. I don't know what kind of oil you have. I can't remember exactly what you said, but this is the kind that I have. Works really well. Slip 2000 Extreme Weapons lubricant. I've also have Hops number 9 lubricating oil. This works great as well. I'm sure what you have will work great as well. They're oil. Some people insist on using grease. Quite frankly, I use grease pretty often too. I've not necessarily had more success with one than the other. I have had more failure, or not failure, but decreased performance with grease if I've had a gun out in the cold. So if you're going to be shooting out in the cold, oil I would say is better, but in general Arizona conditions, one's probably not any better than the other. The thing with grease is it is really easy to use too much, and it can get gummed up easier, so it's probably better, especially for a beginner, to go with oil. But if you want to use grease, just ask me. There's certain kinds of gun grease. I don't know where mine is right offhand, so I'm not going to show you that, but maybe it will sometime. So anyways, I'll just go ahead and kind of show you how to oil this bad boy. So you're just literally going to do, maybe a drip or two. See, I just put a couple little drips there. And then just do that on those two and these two. Just do a couple little drips. All right. Okay, so we'll just set that right there for right now. Something like that. Cool. And then we'll go ahead and put the slide together. I should have done the slide first, but I'm silly sometimes like that. So once again, just do a little drip right there. Just probably about, trying to make the light not mess with it. Just probably about that much. Maybe rub it around a little bit. Okay. So just simple and easy like that. And then just a little bit right there on the top. And that's just because you're going to be sliding back and forth there quite a bit. So that's kind of where you oil the top of the slide. I probably used a little bit too much oil there. Not a big deal. We can wipe that off here in a second. Wipe the excess off. So go ahead and slide your barrel back in place. Put your spring back in. So if you have oil on your fingers like I do, it's something that you need to pay attention to and make sure that you don't slip the spring out and pop it out. So I usually just kind of take the spring with my thumb like this, and with my other thumb I usually just hold this barrel into place, make sure it doesn't jump out anywhere, and I put my hand over top like this, and you can kind of see I'm moving my thumb in like this. I move my thumb in, and then I set it right inside there in that there's a little groove that this sits in. It should sit in place just fine without popping out, but you still need to be cautious and don't shake the thing around too terribly much or slam it down or anything. So be careful with it so it doesn't pop out and get you. So I'm just going to set that off to the side. So now is when I should have oiled those spots, but you can see I've still got the oil on there. Basically what you're going to do now, make sure that this piece is flipped up. Otherwise you're going to just not be able to get your slide on. Okay, take your loaded up slide, and just slide it on these rails like so. Okay, so I just wasn't pulling hard. So basically what you need to do, just slide it on there. There we go. Sometimes it is weird and wants to cock on you or things like that. But basically just slide it back all the way, lock it into place. Sometimes they're a little weird when they do that, but basically just if you see that it cocks, just pull the trigger and it'll uncock and you should be able to slide it back. So basically just get it back to where you have it locked in place like this. Slide that piece back down and close it. And then what I do, just so that I can oil the front of that barrel, I just basically do this. Just do that 10, 15, 20 times, whatever it might be. Okay, so let's inspect what that did. That slid the oil kind of all along there. Obviously on the inside of these, I don't know if you can see this really well. Probably going to be a really bad illustration of it, but if I hold it at the right angle, you might be able to see that these slides have been oiled. You probably won't be able to see it very well, but trust me, they've been oiled. And then the other thing, you can see a little bit of oil residue on there, so that's just fine there. So you have a oiled gun, and now really just the last thing is there we go. So I use these little cloths. These are called rust-proof application wipes. They basically just are something that you make that helps prevent the gun from getting rusted. And I just wipe the whole gun down. Try not to use these on a dirty gun. Or at least not an overly dirty gun, because they'll get dirty. So, just wipe the whole thing down. Won't hurt plastic. I use it on wood for the most part too. I've not had any bad things happen with wood either. Just wipe the thing down. Put it back in its little jar so that it doesn't dry out. Okay, and that is a clean gun. Okay.